Century, the greatest drivers in the world ran on Long Island, just outside New York. Leon Duray at the Vanderbilt Cup in 1906. In 37, the German rear-engine auto unions ran at Roosevelt. Greats like Rex Mays ran the New York area until the late 30s. Then, Major League Racing left to be replaced by dreams. A run through the streets of Manhattan or Central Park or Flushing Meadows, each a dream deferred. But today, the dream comes true. With the skyline of Manhattan as a backdrop, the Indy cars of CART come to the New Jersey Meadowlands. Mario Andretti, 1978 World Driving Champion and winner of this year's Long Beach Grand Prix. Tom Sneva, winner of 2 oval races this year. Indy 500 winner Rick Mears. Al Unser Sr., the defending national champion, and his son, 22-year-old Al Jr., hot off his first CART win 2 weeks ago. The finest drivers and fastest cars. It's the United States Grand Prix at the Meadowlands. Today on Sports World. Well, it has been raining throughout the day in New Jersey, but for the time being, the rain has stopped. The wind has freshened, and there is the chance that the race circuit will dry. We're ready for a very exciting afternoon. Hello, I'm Paul Page. The first race ever at the Meadowlands. We really had hoped that we were going to see the skyline of New York as a backdrop. We're not going to see that today. It rained off and on throughout the day. In the past hour, it has not rained, though it spit just a little bit. As a result, that's forcing the crews here to make some extraordinary decisions. One decision has already been made. Barry Green, the crew chief for Teo Fabi, has decided take off the rain tires, put on the dry tires. They think it's going to continue to dry. The rest of the field, they've decided no, stay with the wet tires. Whatever it is, it's obvious that it's going to be a very exciting afternoon as CART runs its first race starting on wet tires. It's the United States Grand Prix at the Meadowlands. Well, it's a wet, and therefore we expect a very exciting afternoon. To help with the telecast, with 6 Indianapolis wins between them, Johnny Rutherford and Bobby Unser. Now, the greatest names in racing are here, but one key name is missing, John.
Yes, Paul. A.J. Foyt, a legend in racing, made entry for this race. He brought the car here. It was a day late. He didn't have much practice, didn't have much time to try to get it ready to qualify. He decided to withdraw the entry, and as a result, he's gone back home to Houston, and a lot of people thought that he might have a chance to make it, but he just couldn't get it done.
So A.J. Foyt will be watching this race at home. It's a temporary circuit. Built in a very short time, it should be quite a challenge, Bobby.
Well, first of all, imagine 98 days to build an entire racetrack. Number one. Number two, in the rain. We're going to have a race today. At least it's going to be wet, it looks like. And we have some exceptionally good drivers for the rain. I think it's going to be a better race than it would be in the dry. I believe that.
The circuit is 11 turns, 1.682 miles around. Let's take a look at it.
The course here at the Meadowlands is very tight, very demanding little course. Heading down the front straightaway into turn 1, Mario Andretti says that is the toughest spot on the track. Into turn 2 and 3, you're down in low gear, out onto a left-hand sweeper to the left, heading for turn number 4, which has been somewhat of a trouble spot here in practice. Out of turn number 4, you are across the bridge, headed for turn number 5. It's wide open over there, but you have no place to go because the groove is in one spot. Around turn 5, you're headed down through what they call the backstretch into turn number 6. It's very fast around here. Top gear, you're going quick, heading around turn 6 into turn 7. Bobby?
Right after turn 7 is where we start our little chicane business. Back and forth, and we get down into second gear there. And as we come out of 7 and 8, we start back into third gear and up into 9 and 10. Now this gets us into 10 and in 11. That's where the big speed buildup starts. So the start and finish line, which is right there, 165 miles an hour.
So that's the circuit at the Meadowlands. Now the field is ready on the starting grid. The pulses quicken. The excitement begins to ripple through the grandstands. It's time for that key and significant moment. For the first time ever at the Meadowlands, let's hear the command to start engines from John Hanson, the chairman of the New Jersey Sports and Exposition Authority.
Gentlemen, start your engine.
The pole demonstrator sits ready in that bright red Lola. His engine is fired. Again, Teo Fabi has elected to start this race on dry tires. It appears that Andretti has the dries on as well. They can only see the straightaway. The rest of the circuit is mostly dry, but there are some puddles of water throughout the circuit. So those that have changed are taking quite a chance as we are ready now for the start of the United States Grand Prix at the Meadowlands right after this. Started at the Meadowlands. There's the view over Bobby Rahal's right shoulder. That's Mario Andretti just in front of him. You get an idea that some of the circuit is wet. Now the pit stops, of course, will always be a factor in an IndyCar race. Two of the finest will cover that action. We start with Bruce Jenner.
Well, Paul, I hope you're warm and cozy up there in the booth because it is wet down here in the pits, but it hasn't dampened the spirits of the 28 teams getting ready to start this race, particularly the team right behind me. It's Al Unser Jr.'s team. And Al Unser came into being when last weekend, or 2 weekends ago in Portland, Oregon, he won his first IndyCar race ever. He qualified very quickly in the second row, but then on a wet track yesterday in practice, he went very quickly. With all his Can-Am and sports car background, you know he can drive on about any conditions of any track. He's a great racer. Now let's move down the pits a little way to a guy who I think is the absolute best pit reporter in the business, Gary Gerald. Gary?
Well, Bruce, thank you so much. We're in Mario Andretti's pit. There's great drama down here. Andretti on the pole. Rahal, who's pitted right alongside, both have gone to the slick tires. They've given up the rain tire. But the guys that were fast in practice yesterday, that would be Roberto Guerrero and Jeff Brabham, are both on rain tires. They're a little bit further back in the pack. So it's going to be an exciting start now. As we get set to look at the starting grid, let's go back to Paul Page.
Leading the field from the pole in his Lola T800. The pole sitter at every road race this year, and the winner of the first race is Mario Andretti in number 3.
It's going to take absolute rhythm, and by that I mean be able to just drive the car in your own mind as correctly as possible, to be able to just get into the proper line and pick up throttle nice and easy and shift with relative ease. And I think if you can do that, I think you have a chance of winning here.
On the outside of the front row with 3 kart wins, 2 on road courses in a March, is Bobby Rahal.
If we can steel ourselves to the heat and mentally be tougher, we can win this race.
The second row, Ireland's Derek Daly, ex-Formula One driver, now making his presence felt in kart in this, his best kart start.
If I behave myself and the Provimi crew do as good a job as they did at Portland, I can win this race.
Alongside Derek, Al Unser Jr., Little Al is hot, just off his first win 2 weeks ago at Portland.
The whole course is hard, and you're just going to have to find your passive place because there are none.
Row 3, Teo Fabi. 4 wins last year, but this year is a hard luck time for the Italian in what he says is his last year in racing in the United States. Alongside is Roberto Guerrero from Colombia. His best finish this year was a second at Indianapolis. He is the best qualified rookie in this run at the Meadowlands. The fourth row on the inside, Danny Sullivan, the other Lola T800 in the field. He raced Formula One last year for Ken Tyrrell, and he promises to be a threat today. Alongside Danny, on the outside of the fourth row, Rick Mears. 6 of his 19 wins have been on road courses. His big win this season came when he won the Indianapolis 500 for the second time. The fifth row on the inside, Jeff Brabham. 2 second places this year, both on road circuits. But this son of world driving champion Jack Brabham and the 1981 Can-Am champ is still looking for his first kart win. Alongside is Peter Halsmer. His best finish in kart was a second place last year on the Cleveland road circuit, and he is looking for a first after 4 years in kart. Start starters here in the United States Grand Prix at the Meadowlands. As we take a look at the rest of the field now, young Michael Andretti is there. Jose Lee Garza with his best start in this season. Looking back through the field, Emerson Fittipaldi, two-time world champion, starts in the 9th row. A number of the teams have decided to change to the dry tires. Teo Fabi, Mario and Michael Andretti, Bobby Rahal, Derek Daly, Chip Ganassi, Al Holbert, and Jeff Brabham. There's Danny Ongayas. He is well behind the field. He's coming off of turn 3 and still has to catch the field, which is now beginning to set itself for the green flag and the start of this race. One indication was that maybe Ongayas lost control of it for just a second and did a little whoop-de-doo and then got it back under control. Now we watch as the field comes over a very fast portion, turn number 11. It's a blind corner to them. They can barely see more than 40, 50 feet ahead as they come through this section and head for the fastest section of the race course. The field lined up well in the front rows. Remember Mario Andretti, the pole sitter. He has been the pole sitter at every road race this year. 3 times he has been on the pole. Nick Bonoro, the starter, has the green flag. He waves the green flag, and we are racing as Mario Andretti streams off into the first turn. Bobby Rahal behind, but Al Unser Jr. is now battling with Rahal. Al Unser Jr. gets around Rahal, and little Al moves into second place.
Well, that was a lot because he had on wet tires, Paul. The 3 cars, Mario, Bobby Rahal, and Provimi car, they're all on dry tires. They're waiting for the track to dry out.
Mario Andretti, he is leading the race in car number 3 right now. Little Al Unser Jr., who won his first kart race just 2 weeks ago at Portland, has dropped into second. Bobby Rahal is in third, and Roberto Guerrero sitting in fourth with Derek Daly in fifth, Danny Sullivan sixth, Teo Fabi in seventh. They have strung out. They are on a section of the course that is running dry.
You know, Paul, it's interesting to note here that the guys with the dry tires aren't really at that much of a disadvantage, so maybe they've made the right decision.
But Johnny Rutherford, if it dries, the rain tires will not last.
No, they won't, and they'll have to make pit stops to get the dry tires, and the guys that already have them on will be gone.
Well, for the time being, the skies seem to be dry. It is a threatening sky. It's overcast, it's cloudy, it has rained off and on as we watch Mario Andretti continue to lead as we come back onto the main stretch, and Mario Andretti completes the first lap with little Al right in pursuit.
Well, I think it's going to be that little Al will probably pass him in a short while the track's still wet. But remember, Paul, when they come in there for the first pit stop, little Al's probably going to put on dry tires then if the track is still looking dry.
Through the second and third turn, Andretti still leads. Little Al in close pursuit. This coming up is a very critical corner, a 110-degree corner around to the right with a wall on the outside. A mistake here will cost you the race, no doubt, as Andretti powers through. Little Al drops back.
You can see how dry it is there over the bridge, Paul. So, you know, I would say the guys with the dry tires right now have an advantage in some areas, and the ones that don't have, well, it's not that much of a problem.
Andretti comes through 5 onto 6. It's damp in that section. But remember, this former world driving champion is a master on any surface, and he's proving it today. The challenge is coming from Al Unser Jr. He knows his way around a road course, Bob.
Oh, he does. Both of them, Mario and Al Jr., both have a lot of wet running experience. Mario, of course, in a lot of the Formula 1 cars. Al Jr. in the Can-Am, the Super Bs.
Mario Andretti in front. Al closing up once again as they come to the main stretch section alongside the pits. They're on the pit straight now. Again, you see the spray. A great deal of water. In third place right now, Roberto Guerrero. He's moved around Bobby Rahal. Bobby Rahal, remember, carrying that live color television camera, the NBC Kart Cam, and we'll be watching from over his shoulder throughout the day. Give you an idea of what these drivers face, especially when they run through the water.
I think that's a good example. Rahal and Guerrero. Guerrero is on wet tires. Rahal's on dry. I think that's a fairly good example of what's going to happen early on, unless it starts raining again.
Mario Andretti still with his lead. The battle at the front of the field.
Yeah, I'm really surprised if little Al has on the wet tires, why he can't handle Mario as wet as it still seems to be.
There's what Bobby Rahal is looking at. You're looking at it live. You can see how much he has to work on that wheel.
Oh, it isn't quite as bad as that because the camera's getting a little bit of water on it, but he is working very hard. I just wish we had a clear day for such a good camera.
Well, the picture is actually much better than that. What you're really seeing is the mist and fog developed by the fact that they've run through a lot of water. The visor
the other
gets
cars,
much the same on their visor.
Yes, you hope that the wind will blow it off, but sometimes when you get a little mud mixed with it or a little dirt, it doesn't happen.
Mario Andretti and Al Unser Jr. complete 3 of the 100 scheduled lap distance here. We watch down toward the first turn, and they have really pulled out a tremendous advantage from the third-place car of Roberto Guerrero. Al Unser Jr. almost loses it. He comes off turn 3, but stays in pursuit. There's Mario Andretti. Al still dogging him, staying right on top of him. The drivers know they can't let the leader get away. Little Al is right there, but Roberto Guerrero is back just a bit. A dry section of the course as they head for turn 5. Let's go to the pits. Here's Bruce Jenner.
I'm with Huey Absalon, and Huey, who's the crew chief for Al Unser Jr.'s car. You're on wet tires right now. You're not going to. When are you going to make the change onto the dry tires?
The way it's going right now, we may not even do it until we're scheduled to do it on, we hope, 48 laps.
If you went, say, 15 laps in and the track is dried out enough, could you put dry tires on, fill the car up with fuel, and make it to the finish line in one stop?
Yeah, we intended to make it in one stop anyway.
All right. Good luck to you. Al, Paul.
Well, there was a lot of question about how far they might be able to get with fuel. They really didn't have an opportunity, this being a new circuit, of getting a test on how far they could go wet or dry with a fuel load. And so, Bobby and John, it's a question of whether or not it's 1 or 2 stops today.
Of course, there's a chance, Johnny will tell us the same thing, there's a chance that it's going to be a one-stop race, and a lot of the reason is going to be because the track is slow from the water, Paul.
Now, an 11-second separation between these 2 cars and the third-place machine of Roberto Guerrero. Ray Hall is just behind Guerrero. Then in 5th is Danny Sullivan. Derek Daly is running 6th. Teo Fabi is 7th. But this is the fight on the circuit. It is a fight for the lead.
You know, it's amazing to watch Mario Andretti hold off little Al Unser, and little Al has on the dry tires, and normally that would be a bit of an advantage.
Well, I know what you meant, Johnny, but Mario's got the dries, little Al has the wets.
Right, okay.
And he really should, right, he really should be passing him. And if he's going to do it, now's the time, because that's
right.
when the track's the wettest.
Yes, you'd want him, you know, you'd think he'd be making more of a challenge, but maybe he's just waiting to see what happens.
It looks like going down into turn 2 would be the opportune place, because that's where it's about the wettest that we can see it.
We've got a spin on the circuit. 1 car around on the racetrack. Didn't appear, well, we do have some bent front wings there. So Atchison making his first start in an Indy car around. Looks like he touched a barrier. The yellow flag will fly in that section. We are running, of course, on road course rules, so the leaders can continue at speed on the rest of the course. Mario Andretti is our leader. He continues to lead. Al Unser Jr. is behind in 2nd place, and Roberto Guerrero currently runs in 3rd place. So a successful start, but still a great deal of excitement to come in the United States Grand Prix at the Meadowlands. We'll be back.
How petty stuff.
We are back live at the Meadowlands. 7 laps are complete. Mario Andretti is our leader, but just seconds ago, they had a truck out to try and protect Atchison's car, and this happened as Derek Daly and Teo Fabi got together. Daly had to lock the brakes up to keep from getting into the truck. Fabi moved ahead, but as you see, his car is now stopped dead by the course. The left front is ruined, so the race is over for Teo Fabi. Now, Derek Daly was able to continue on, but the race continues, running under road course rules of yellow flag as they try and get the circuit clear. Peter Halsmer has come in for a pit stop. The crew was ready for Teo Fabi to come in. They didn't know that the car was so badly damaged. As our leader, car number 3, Mario Andretti, now encounters back markers. He just moved around Dick Simon and is beginning to lengthen his lead now over Al Unser Jr.
Well, it looks like the track is going more to dry. Pete Halsmer was just in for a tire change.
We've got a problem on the Halsmer car. Bobby, a fire at the back of the machine.
Yeah, I called that wrong. I thought he was just in for a tire change, but it looks like he definitely got a water problem.
Excuse me. Could be steam vapor, not necessarily fire, though the extinguishers are there, so apparently the crew sees something down under. Remember, the car is using methanol as a fuel, and when it burns, it's very difficult to see the flame. Peter Halsmer stays in the car, though.
The color of that smoke really looks like it's a water leakage problem to me. It doesn't look like
fire on the side there coming out of the turbo. You can see the flames on the... There, he's got it.
Let's go down to the pits. Here's Bruce Jenner.
Well, this is what's happening at Peter Halsmer's pit. He came in to change the tires. They had a little bit of trouble trying to get the tire off, and then all of a sudden, when they just put a little bit of fuel on board, it ignited and underneath some of the cowling, so you really can't see the fire. All of a sudden, we got there again out of the back of the car. You see the turbochargers have lit up the back end of this car. They are still changing the tire. Peter Halsmer is still in the car. He doesn't want to get out. They don't think it's doing any damage to the car. Peter thinks he can get back in the race. He's off the jacks right now. He may try to get it started and see if he can go out on the track and get some air flowing over the car and possibly blow it out. But right now, Peter Halsmer is sort of in a critical situation. They continue to put water on it, and that's what you see right now is most of the steam as it's coming out. Al Unser right next to him just came into the pits. Al is finally making his change. He is going to dry tires all the way around, and also he again looks like a little bit of flame coming out of the back of the car, but looks like it's just being ignited from the turbocharger. Let's go back up to Paul Page.
At the same time that Al Unser Jr. decides to make his change of tires, Roberto Guerrero came in. Looks like he is going to the dry tires as well. So the car that was running in second place, the car that was running in third place into the pits. Andretti stays out running on the dry tires. For the time being, at least, that was a good decision. There's Roberto Guerrero, a rookie in kart from Colombia. And they are making their change over to the dry tires. So the crew is a key factor here.
Yeah, that's a very slow pit stop. This is really going to hurt him, that brake ball, because the cars have been going by. He may have lost a lap right there, and it's kind of sad. Looks like
Al Unser took a quick spin on the course. Didn't touch anything. There's Al Unser Jr. back to the action. Quick spin down in the second turn.
That's the same thing Danny Ungaius did on the parade lap, so I'm sure getting used to the dry tires on a little bit of moisture is bad. We have a full course yellow, Paul. The yellow is out all the way around, so they've dispatched the pace car. It is going to get in front of the lead car.
And Guerrero spins down in the second turn.
Quite a bit different. I'll tell you what, that's
tires are cold. The guys
yeah,
are
they're
right
cold
down
and very slippery out there. I'm sure they
come out on those tires. They've been running on tires that could hold that surface. Now they're on the dries. They're very slick. And while it looks dry to the crews over on the pit stretch, by the time they get down to the second turn, there's a lot of water there. There's a big puddle just off of the pit exit. And so it gets to be pretty hairy as soon as they get down in there.
It's very hard to get your timing when you come out like this after a change. And a lot of times it'll sneak up on you and you're backwards before you know it.
Roberto Guerrero was able to kick the clutch in and keep the motor running. There you see the PPG pace cars. They are out. Mario Andretti is the leader of the race. Bobby Rahal has moved up to second. Danny Sullivan is in third, but we have a full course yellow. That means that they will pack up behind the pace car. And the situation changes rapidly here at the United States Grand Prix at the Meadowlands. Mario Andretti, car number 3, is the leader. He has led from the pole. We'll be back with more from the Meadowlands right after this. We're back live at the Meadowlands. This is Paul Page, and you're looking at the problem. There it is, that great big puddle of water on the pit exit. As Tom Sneva comes out, the cars are going in. They're changing from their rain tires to dry tires, and then they come out and they hit this puddle, and they float right on the surface of the puddle. Here a few seconds ago was Tom Gloy. Look at that. Now, as soon as it gets on the dry, he catches adhesion again and barely keeps it off of the wall.
Oh, that was close.
He's not been the only one. Big Al came through there and did it. Almost everyone except for Sneva. There's Big Al.
Big Al right there. Now watch him.
Watch this. Hits the water. They literally float on top of that water, skid across it.
The rubber's cold. First place are dry tires, but the rubber's cold. Now, after they have a few laps on it, Paul, they won't do that again.
But they're learning some expensive words. Another indication of a problem down in the pit area. Again, Peter Halsmer's car. This was the one we had a bit of a fire at the back of it. They're trying to restart it. And again, we should remember that the course is under a full course yellow. Mario Andretti is still the leader. Bobby Rahal is in second place. Let's go down to the pits now. Here's Gary Gerald.
Well, Paul, you talked about the problem that Derek Daly had. We know that there's damage to the front nose wing. They have 2 standing by here so that if there is a problem, they can quickly make a change. They have them numbered. This one was prepared. They were going to call him in. Derek radioed in, said there is no problem. He can stay on the course at this speed. It's handling okay. Just in case, however, he bends another one up or has complications, 2 noses ready to go on the Derek Daly Pravimi number 17. We've also seen Sneva, Holmes, and Brayton right here in this pit area on the yellow come in and go to the dry tires.
Jerry. Here is two-time world driving champion Emerson Fittipaldi. He started this race in 18th. He's now sitting in 4th. So I think that's in large part due to his tremendous experience out of Formula One running on the rain.
No doubt about it, Paul. I've been watching him, and it's not hard to miss him with that bright green car, but he has been making moves, going around people in the first turn here on the outside, and he has been moving steadily, and as you say, he's in 4th spot, doing a tremendous job.
Well, the pit crews are going to have a lot of work to do. You've seen the work being done on Peter Halsmer's car. There's also a situation developing with Kevin Cogan, who got in that puddle and may have bent a right front wing on his All-American Eagle. And so as a result of that, his crew will have to work as well. Now, the leader is Mario Andretti, one of the greatest racing legends, the senior road racing here on the IndyCar circuit. We had a time to take a close look at this great champion. It was 1965 at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway when Mario Andretti began a long and illustrious career in IndyCar racing by pulling the 3 pieces of tape off the back of his race car that signified he was no longer a rookie. He had qualified in the 4th starting position for the Indianapolis 500. When the race was done, Mario Andretti finished 3rd. 4 years later, Andretti finished 1st, pulling into the coveted victory lane. But Andretti can drive anything. In 1967, he won the Daytona 500 for Grand National stock cars. 1978, he was the world driving champion. No matter what type of car it is or where it is, anywhere in the world, Mario Andretti can make it fast. He's a man that loves to race.
I just love what I'm doing. It's that simple. I think that's the basis of it. I think I have the same goals that I had when I started, still. And as long as I have that, and I get a lot of inspiration, I think, now from my son Michael, and all these things, I think, just keep me going.
Mario is a man with a typical Italian sense of close family. Right now, the family most in his mind and in view is his oldest son, Michael. Michael says the racing brings the family together.
Through racing, I think it's brought us a lot closer because now we have something to really relate to. We're even more, I think, friends and father and son in a lot of ways, and I think we have a really unique relationship.
The life he loves has been good to Mario Andretti. He associates in the top of the social world. He has movie stars as fans and friends, and he lives a life most of us only dream. But what Mario Andretti dreams of is Lola, the new Lola T800. She carried him to Winner's Circle at Long Beach, California, and put him on the pole at Portland. For now, it's all he could want. But Mario, who started racing Indy cars 20 years ago, is looking toward the end of his career. Many think he will soon retire.
Well, I say not yet, for me anyway. Hopefully, if I have my health and the way I feel at this moment, I think I could probably go another at least 4 or 5 years. This is what my wife has been here, and Deanne's been hearing at least another 4 or 5 years for the last 20. So when the time will come, I hope I'm just man enough to realize it and bow out gracefully. But I think I'm still competitive. I know I am. I think I still can give a team good service. As long as that's true, I'll keep on going.
Well, the crew and the team certainly working for Mario Andretti now. He is the leader with Bobby Rahal in second, Rick Mears in third. We have 14 laps complete. We are under the yellow, and we'll be back with more from the Meadowlands right after this. But they should be calling the pace car off the course now as we watch live Mario Andretti heading down through the sweepers that constitute what, if you would call it a straight, there is a back straight here at the Meadowlands. Andretti is our leader. He has led from the pole. In second place is Bobby Rahal. There you see Bobby, that NBC onboard camera right over his right shoulder, though it's receiving an awful lot of fog and mist as it still goes through sections of the course that are very, very wet. Many of the teams have elected, though, to to put the dry tires on. Rick Mears, who started in 8th place, has moved up to 3rd, and Emerson Fittipaldi started 18th, is now in 4th.
Well, mainly they haven't changed tires, Paul. That's the reason for it. Jose Garza is up to 5th. All of those cars, Rick, Fittipaldi, Garza just haven't changed. Now here they go in green now.
Green flag out once again as the speeds pick up. Mario Andretti accelerates away. Dick Simon sitting in the 2nd position in the serial, but he is well down in laps. In 2nd place is Rahal as Rahal tries to duck under Simon. It is Andretti who has an advantage now of running with no one in front of him and can begin to pull away.
Well, it looks like he's going to have it pretty easy for just a little while, but Rahal's going to get by Simon pretty quick. And Rahal's got dry tires now, so it should be a good race. Bobby Rahal's been very fast this race, Paul.
Much of the course is dry. There are still just a few wet spots. They're going to have to tiptoe around those.
Yeah, a few spots, Paul, but I think everybody knows where they are, and it's a matter now of getting the dries and getting your rhythm down for that type of tire.
At 2nd place, Bobby Rahal there as he's trying to find his way around Dick Simon. The drivers were very worried about where they could pass on the course. Now Rahal gets past and can take up pursuit of Mario Andretti.
Well, he just showed us a new passing area. He did it right in the middle of the S's there, so that's not too bad. Obviously, he's faster.
There's the story on Bobby Rahal for 1984. He's had a year without victories. He is certainly anxious for one. If he's going to do it, he hopes it's on a road course. His experience is greater there, though he has one on the oval at Michigan International. Very skilled driver, Bobby Rahal, and a smudge on the nose of that car that he may have picked up when he closed in on Dick Simon a little bit earlier and ran his nose into it. That we'll have to keep an eye on because there's the possibility if they damage the nose too much, it will affect the wings and how they bite the air on the car. So Bobby Rahal in 2nd place. There is the leader, Mario Andretti, and Roberto Guerrero pulls off the course and to a stop. Something wrong with his car. Roberto Guerrero, who had a nice run, you can see he's hit something there. The left front's up, the wing is bent.
He hit Danny and Gaius coming down the front straightaway, trying to do a pass, and apparently Danny wasn't in the right position to suit Robert Guerrero, so he hit him. As you can see, the left front tire's off the ground, and the wing is also bent, Paul.
He finished 2nd at Indianapolis. He really hoped for a first here today, and I think probably, like the rain, was hoping that it would pay off for Guerrero. There is Mario Andretti as he comes over that fast sweeper. Teo Fabi, one of the men out of the race early as a result of some altercations running in the wet there. Let's go down to the pits now to see if Bruce Jenner can get a word on Teo.
Paul Teo's with me right now, and Teo, you must be a little disappointed. It looks like you just got into traffic and you just couldn't get out of the way.
No, I was racing with Daly and Sullivan was in front of us, but he was slower because he started with the rain tire. And me and Daly were trying very hard to overtake him, and someone spun in front of us, and they nearly locked the circuit, so we had to brake very hard, and we hit each other, and I bent my front suspension.
Where are the tough parts on this track right now? It's still wet out there, isn't it?
Yeah, I think the first corner is still very wet, but for sure was the right choice to start on dry tire.
Okay. Oh, Teo Fabi, this year doing double duty, running the Indy cars of CART and also going over to Formula One to run with Team Brabham. And some indication that this is his last year, if not one of his last races in CART. Teo really wants to stay over near his home at Milan, Italy.
Boy, Mario has really jumped out to a tremendous lead. He leads by quite a bit, but Bobby Rahal is making a valiant effort to close that gap, and they're both just leaving the rest of the field.
Well, you see the gap there. Of course, Johnny Rutherford, if you get out in front, there's a shot from the Goodyear airship as we take a look down on through a wet camera lens, so it's still pretty misty up in the air above the circuit. That gives you an idea of how serpentine this course is. It is really a twisty circuit. And Mario Andretti and Rahal have been able to move out in front. 3rd place is currently Rick Mears.
The fastest car moving right now, as far as traffic is concerned, is Al Jr. And he's passing about 1 to 2 cars per lap. So he's liking the dry tires an awful lot, I'd have to say.
Mario Andretti, that Lola T800 working very, very well for him. Remember, at the first race of the season on the temporary circuit at Long Beach, California, Mario was able to run lap 1 through the end of the race and win that race. Bobby Rahal in 2nd place right now. Rick Mears is currently sitting in 3rd position.
Well, Daly just did in turn 4, just did a 360, and I think he's still on wet tires, but he really didn't lose but about 4 or 5 positions. He made a big circle and got back in the field without hitting anything. But I do think he lost a little bit.
Mario Andretti out in front as he leads here at the United States Grand Prix at the Meadowlands. Now, let's go to our studios in New York. We're back live. Mario Andretti is still the leader. He's led right from the start of this race, but there is a tremendous battle now developing for 5th place. It's working up behind the 6th car of Rick Mears, currently running in 5th, and Emerson Fittipaldi in that bright green number 82. Now, Derek Daly lies in there as well, and he is part of that battle, so it's now a 3-way battle for 5th. Rick Mears currently occupies it. 6th is Derek Daly, and 7th is Emerson Fittipaldi. They have been chopping at one another constantly.
Another one about the best battles going on is the 2 juniors. Little Al and Michael really having a race, Paul. There's a good race right there with Rick Mears and Fittipaldi. They're going at it tooth and toenail. We have more good racing going on around the circuit than you can imagine right now.
Jeff Brabham closing in behind Fittipaldi as he tries to grab off a position. Fittipaldi currently occupying 7th, so there's 4 cars in there battling. It's Daly currently in 5th now. 6th is Rick Mears, and Fittipaldi and Brabham are battling as well. This is the tightest fight on the circuit at the moment.
No doubt about it. And of course, you can see Emerson Fittipaldi, the experience he has at this type of racing. He's just sitting there waiting. Pretty soon we'll see him go by.
At the beginning of the race, there was a question on where they would pass. It is very difficult to pass on this course. Rick Mears had a wonderful thing to say. He said, you know, right now we say there's nowhere to pass, but once the race gets going, you just kind of make places.
That's always the way it happens. And of course, you must remember that our track may not be real wet, but it darn sure isn't dry. So it's making some of the passing a little bit easier.
Emerson Fittipaldi, as he comes inside, gets past Rick Mears. So Fittipaldi now sits in 6th. Derek Daly was able to move a little bit ahead of this fight. There's the shot from the blimp overhead. Goodyear Airship Enterprise. As you can see, Fittipaldi making his turn into the right around turn 4.
Yes, Jeff Brabham went by on that pass as well.
We've been seeing that for some time. There's Jeff Brabham as he comes by Fittipaldi, and Brabham starts to move up now and will take up pursuit of Derek Daly.
Well, I'll tell you what, we just saw 2 impossible passes there. The drivers the other day told us it couldn't happen, if you remember.
Absolutely can't pass in turn 4, and Brabham got it done.
Well, it's just like Bobby said, when it comes time to race, you can do a lot of things you didn't think you could do.
Jeff Brabham, the son of Jack Brabham, 3-time world driving champion, has been here watching his son run, gives him a little advice every now and then. Obviously, whatever he's saying has paid off here.
You know, he also owns the company in England, or owns part of the company in England that does the engines for this car.
Well, the battle now seems to have broken off just a bit. We did see a tremendous fight there for 5th place. Mario Andretti is still our leader of the race at the United States Grand Prix of the Meadowlands. We'll be back right after this. The view almost from the clouds above the Meadowlands of New Jersey. The Goodyear Blimp Enterprise from Pompano Beach, Florida. Pilots Captain Jim Maloney from Vienna, Virginia. Some shots being gotten from up there, but he is really having to duck under the clouds to operate here today. Our leader here at the United States Grand Prix at the Meadowlands, Mario Andretti, he has led from the green flag. Now let's go down to the pits. Gary Gerald. Gary?
Paul, moments ago, before the break, you were talking about that great fight for 5th place involving Jeff Brabham. Well, here's Sir Jack Brabham, 3-time world driving champion who's following so closely the efforts of his son. I know, sir, that you must be tremendously proud of Jeff when you see him now making his mark in these Indy cars.
Yes, I certainly am.
Do you find yourself ever wishing that you had the opportunity to get back in one of these cars yourself, Jack?
Yeah, particularly when things are not going good, I feel like getting out there.
On a day such as today, with the rain being such a factor, did you offer any advice to your son?
Yeah, unfortunately it was wrong.
All right. Sir Jack Brabham here in a very busy Craco pit, Paul.
Jack Brabham made his mark on IndyCar racing back in the early 60s at Indianapolis when he brought the Cooper Climax Special to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Everybody laughed and said, we'll never go to the rear-engine car. Well, look at this field today. Jack Brabham, the first man in modern times to bring a rear-engine
car into the IndyCar.
Yeah, this guy not only brought the first rear engine car, but he's one heck of a good race driver. He was when he was racing, folks.
Back at the head of the field now, second place, Bobby Rahal, car number 5, and right in front, there's Mario Andretti. So Rahal in close pursuit now of the leader.
Yes, he has done a tremendous job in closing that gap, and he's going to put some pressure on Mario now. It'll be worth watching, I can assure you.
Mario Andretti looks down into those mirrors, and he can see Bobby Rahal's big number 5 sitting there. So Andretti has had that kind of challenge many times before. Rahal was part of the challenge in the early going there. He looked through a very fogged lens off of Rahal's right shoulder at Mario sitting just ahead, and you can bet that Rahal is watching very closely to see where can I get by.
Well, he's going to have a hard time getting by Mario, but by the same token, Mario, every time he looks in his mirrors, Bobby Rahal's there. Look how close they are now. That's really a good race.
And we're looking at what may be the key to getting by here, which is slower cars in front.
Yes, you're almost going to have to use those guys. Whenever you come up on one, you got to see where he is and kind of plan your moves by watching him and the car you're trying to get by.
Right now it's Howdy Holmes that sits just in front of the leader, Mario Andretti. Bobby Rahal in second place and watching to see where he might take his shot as he tries it a little lower on turn number 1, trying to get past. But passing is always the question there. There you see the flag telling Mario that there is a car right behind him as Mario tries to duck under Howdy. He gets past, and Howdy lets Rahal by as well, so some good sportsmanship there.
Well, that is. In fact, they're coming on a lot of traffic, and I think that was exceptionally good for Howdy to do that. It really was. They're having their race, and Howdy's behind, and that's what you should do.
But they tell the novice drivers when they first start, watch your mirrors, and you can bet that the guys running slower in this field are taking a good look at those mirrors every time they come off of a corner. Mario Andretti leads. Rahal is second. Michael Andretti is now in third place, and another son of a great champion, Little Al Unser, is sitting in fourth. We call him Little Al, by the way. He says he prefers that title. He doesn't feel demeaned by it.
Well, we've called him that all of our lives so far, but he's quick and he's good today. He and Michael have been having one good race so far.
Of course, Little Al won the last race in kart, also the last road race. Just 2 weeks ago, the first race held in Portland for the IndyCar. So he is on a roll, and there's a good chance that he'll be able to move up very shortly. Jeff Brabham in 5th, Derek Daly sitting in 6th place right now.
Here we see these guys. They're coming into some real heavy traffic, so Rahal, if he uses his head here and gets in the right position, he could get by Mario and take the lead.
Emerson Fittipaldi comes in and makes a stop. He's making this stop now on lap 32. So he has made a decision to come in what would appear to be a little bit early based on the best guesses that you could take.
Well, he's doing this based on 2 pit stops, and he just finally felt that he needed dry tires. He's been on wet tires all along, and it was a good choice to make because he realizes that he's probably going to have to make 2 stops. Now, you remember early on, Al, chief mechanic, he always said that they would only make 1. Well, I promise you they're going to have to make 2 because they've already changed their tires once.
Emerson Fittipaldi will now definitely be a car to watch as he comes over to the dry tires. Here's the battle for the front once again. Mario Andretti pulls up behind Al Unser Sr., currently running in 11th place, and tries to poke his way past Big Al so that he can keep Rahal off the back.
That particular turn we watched them come through there, Paul, is very critical because it has high sides. You can't see very far ahead of you, and you're going very fast. You're in about 3rd gear there, so you're really clipping along.
This is the first turn on the circuit. They say there's 16, 17 gear changes here, and a lot of the cars actually have to grab a gear. Now as they come into the second turn, Tom Sneva separates 1st and 2nd place. Sneva is currently 12th, so now the leader, Mario Andretti, as he comes around Al Unser Sr., begins to work his way up into the top 10. His next target will be the 10th place car of Jacques Villeneuve. So the leaders are beginning to overhaul the rest of the field.
Well, look at that. Rahal, Tom Sneva like to pitch Rahal off.
Rahal really wants through there. He doesn't want to get slowed down by these guys.
Well, that's just what they're doing, too. They're kind of in his way, and Mario's getting away from him.
Mario's running in the clear, so they are going to really have a problem. At least Rahal will if Mario continues to pull away and he can't get around Big Al.
They're still going to be in traffic for a while, and anything could happen. First place, Mario's a very good traffic driver. Bobby Rahal's really going to have to work him hard to pressure him in a bad position so he can pass.
Rahal still has 2 cars to contend with. He has Tom Sneva and he has Al Unser Sr., but passing is the question on this race course. Bobby Rahal was one of those that we asked, where in the world on this course can you get by?
Not impossible, close. You know, it's because there are no straightaways, there's really one line, and unless somebody makes a mistake, bobbles a little bit or has a problem, it'll be very, very difficult to pass.
Bobby Rahal, and as we went away to Bobby Rahal, we saw Kevin Cogan get over the back wheel of another car. Now Cogan running out of the top 10, but still a factor in this battle for the lead serial. Let's take a look at it. The approach again to turn number 2. That's Kevin Cogan down on the inside as he bounces off of the wall, slides out, and touches Jacques Villeneuve, and then Cogan has to turn off the course as the leader, Mario Andretti, comes by on the inside.
He'd already been up over his rear tire too, Paul. The wall was the second thing that he hit. It was just everybody trying to get the same place in the turn at the same time.
Mario Andretti, certainly a very lucky man as he poked his nose through that battle. Mario Andretti is now the leader of the race. He has been from the start. Rahal is second. Michael Andretti is third, and we'll be back. We're back live at the Meadowlands. Mario Andretti leads, but the battle is a second-generation fight for third place. Michael Andretti is trying to hold off Al Unser Jr. There you see the two of them. Andretti currently in third place, young son Michael, and Al Unser Jr. is in fourth place. Little Al closed up just a minute ago and is beginning to show Andretti that he wants that position.
Oh, he is. He was ahead for a while, but he's chewing on him now, and Michael knows he's there. It's going to be that's one of the best races on the course right now, believe it or not.
Of course, Al Jr. is on a high, coming off of a win. Michael Andretti still looking for one. As we see Jeff Brabham roll into the pits, the number 18 machine of Jeff Brabham, teammate to Michael Andretti.
Yes, that's just a normal fuel pit stop, though. He's not changing tires or anything, so that means that his car must be handling good. They're not working on the wings or a darn thing.
Now, this could be considered a routine stop because most of the teams thought lap 37, lap 38 or so. In fact, Mario Andretti's pit reported lap 38, 40, somewhere in there. They might consider a stop.
You're going to start seeing a lot of them stop right now.
Whoa, something wrong with Jeff as he comes off of the pit line. He came across that puddle of water and then rolled to a stop down in turn 2.
I think that's a shame. That really hurt poor Jeff.
I think what happened to him was he came through there and hiked and just aquaplaned right across the water and slid at a stop.
Obvious that he kept the engine going, so he should be back in the fight shortly. Here's the real fight on the circuit. There's Jeff Brabham. He is back and rolling and back into the action. The battle on the course still between Michael Andretti and Al Unser Jr.
Michael Andretti is into the pits now.
Michael Andretti peels off, heads down to the pits. We watch this stop.
It's going to be a normal pit stop, too. No tires. Looks like it's just going to be they're adjusting a front wing. Oh, they're taking the tape off the air scoop.
Mike Andretti, the only driver to finish each race that he started this season, the only one with that distinction. He gives some instruction to his crew. He's exasperated, Bobby.
Well, he wants those the air scoops open because he's using too much brakes now. He's on dry tires going fast.
Howdy Holmes against the wall. At least it appears that way. He's staying in the car and looks like he wants to be pulled back.
That's over turn 5.
Coming off at turn 5, so maybe he's not against the wall. He just took a quick spin and wants him to get him away from the wall so he can get going.
They don't have reverses in the car, no reverse gear, so he's wanting the guy to push him backwards in a hurry.
Yep. Doesn't appear to be any damage there.
I think it's all right. He'll put the first gear and take off now. Now he's going to make a circle.
I asked a number of the crews before the start of this, and that's a way to get it around.
Yeah.
In fact, I asked a couple of the crews what they ought to do. Should they put a reverse gear in these cars? All of them said, well, no, we're not going to. But Barry Greentail, Bobby's crew chief, thought, well, maybe that would be a good idea. Let's go down to Gary Gerald.
Oh, Michael Andretti came in, and he's a very frustrated race driver right now. You just saw him burn away from the pits. He came in. They thought it was routine. They wanted fuel only. But then he was motioning for a right front change. They decided to change all 4. In his anxiety then to get away, he had the problem, stalled the engine. They had to back the car up, get it restarted. Consequently, a very, very long, troublesome stop for a frustrated Michael Andretti.
Well, Gary, an important development out on the circuit. We're looking at Bobby Rahal, the man that was up to the second place and battling with the leader. He has stopped right dead center in the track.
I can't imagine him stopping that far out on the track. Out obviously something quit at the engine or something like that, and he's wanting to get a tow truck so he can get going.
That changes the leader serial again. Mario, of course, still leads, but now Al Unser Jr. moves up to second place. Derek Daly comes up to third. You know, I would go down to the pits. Bobby Rahal stopped on the course. Maybe Bruce Jenner can add some information.
Well, right now I'm in Bobby Rahal's pit. They have no idea what's happening if he stopped on the course because they are ready here. They've got the tires out. Jim Truman is getting the hoses ready and getting out and waiting for him. They have no idea that he has stopped on the track.
There's Jim Truman right there, owner of the car. Very competent race driver in his own right.
Paul, I would take a wild guess here at this point that maybe Rahal ran out of fuel.
If he did, he picked a very strange place to stop the car, right in the center of the track.
Well,
maybe that's his way of insisting to get a toe in.
That's the way you get a toe in. So if you're in the way, they'll get a yellow out at the spot and try to get you hooked up and bring you out of the way or in. And that's what he wants, because I'm not sure if he's made his pit stop. I don't recall seeing him in the pits. He started the race, and this is the first time. So I would think if Mario's getting ready to make a pit stop, Rahal just might have run out of fuel.
Well, as Mario Andretti screened past, we saw the truck already there with Rahal, and that was a big question mark. Their final practice came under wet conditions. They're trying to get Rahal hooked up so they can tow him in, and so they couldn't get a good check on fuel mileage, John.
Well, that's true, and of course weather conditions change and things happen, and it might be that he just ran out.
Bobby Rahal, they now have him hooked up, and the kart safety vehicles will give him a tow back into the pits. Hopefully he'll get restarted, and re-rolling once again. Mario Andretti continues to lead. Al Unser Jr. second, Derek Daly third, Danny Sullivan now up to fourth, Al Holbert is fifth. Those cars 1 through 5 are all on the leader lap.
Now keep in mind that Mario hasn't stopped yet either, Paul. He's going to have to stop before long. If Rahal did run out of fuel, Mario should be getting short before long.
As Mario Andretti leads this race, he has led from the green flag. Let's go back to our studios in New York. We're back live. Mario Andretti is still the leader. His crew gave him a signal to come in on the last lap. Andretti instead continued on the race circuit. And he did that at Phoenix this year and was waiting for a dash light to tell him that he might be out of fuel. He decided to drive until he saw the light. The light was faulty. The crew wants him in. Andretti is not coming in, at least not yet. Let's go to the pits and Bruce Jenner.
Thank you, Paul. With me is Jim Truman, the car owner for Bobby Rahal. And Bobby had everything going so well, Jim, and then all of a sudden everything fell apart. You know what happened?
From what we could determine, he spun coming on the straight and got into the wall slightly and lost the engine. Had to wait to get towed to get out of the way and restart it. So I think we've lost 3 to 4 laps, and we'll need a little luck.
How frustrating.
A bit.
That's for sure. Okay, back.
Howdy Holmes takes a quick spin. Howdy Holmes, a spin, kicks the clutch in, gets her going, and continues on. And at the same time, Mario Andretti puts yet another lap on the circuit. The game plan for the Andretti team said that they could go 48 laps, perhaps, before they had to go for fuel. Well, they're taking it right to 48. He's working on lap 48 right now as Mario Andretti makes that left turn through turn number 5.
You know, Paul, he's going to be able to make this race on one stop if he keeps this up. If he could make this stop now, then they have one more yellow flag deal session. He's going to make her on one stop. Really is a big advantage. Al Jr.'s in the pits now, which really is his second time.
Mario Andretti, our leader, and he has plenty of lead. In fact, he had a tremendous lead over second place of Al Unser Jr., but little Al came into the pits. There he is making his stop now, so second place is relinquished and giving that much more room for Mario Andretti to make a stop.
Mario is in the pits. Mario is in the pits.
There is Mario Andretti as he heads down to the pits. Let's go down to Gary Gerald.
Well, Paul, one of the compounding problems here is the fact that this pit road is curved, and so you can see them really working with the sign to make sure that Mario hit the right spot. His is the last pit along the line. They are changing the rubber, as you can see, at the rear of the car, working quickly back there, and of course they're topping off with fuel. You get better fuel consumption under rainy conditions. They're hoping they may be able to go the rest of the way. A beautifully timed stop for the leader, Mario Andretti.
Mario Andretti back into the fight. We see the shot from the blimp as he comes off the pit road, and Mario retains first place as he heads down through the second and third turn. Here is Al Unser Jr. He was in second, a very long stop as he heads back into the action.
They had left rear tire, well, it just wouldn't go on, or the nut wouldn't go on properly, and he's been there an awful long time. That really was a setback for him, and Mario had one of the finest pit stops I've seen in a long time.
A terrible disappointment for Little Al. Earlier, we saw Howdy Holmes spin. Here's another view of it. Coming around 5, back in just gets away.
That's the second spin for Howdy. He's obviously not working too good, but look how lucky he is. He didn't hit a thing. That's really good.
And boy, he knows how to drive it to a stop. Howdy Holmes, and he continues on. So now we have 2 Lolas. Mario Andretti and Danny Sullivan are leading this race. Mario is out in front. Sullivan is second. Jeff Brabham is now third. We'll be back with more from the Meadowlands right after this. Hours past Michael. John Paul Jr. comes in, closes behind Mears. Mears has
it's like no other race in the world. The Michigan 500.
John Paul Jr. pursues Mears. John Paul drops inside Mears, forges his way past. He's down on the apron. He gets past Rick Mears. John Paul leads it, and Mears is spinning. Rick Mears up, hits the wall. Michael torpedoes right into Mears. A serious accident. John Paul now streaming for the checkered flag.
Live on NBC.
It's unbelievable. Back live at the Meadowlands, this is Paul Page, and you're looking at the new second-place car. That's Danny Sullivan, car number 30, the Domino's Pizza Hot One. He is second place. Now, that means that Lolas are running first and second because Andretti's out in front, and those are the only 2 Lolas in the field.
That's just exactly what happened last race for a while. They're good cars. These Lolas on the road courses, for some reason, definitely seem to be faster than the March cars.
The car that Andretti is driving is not the one that he won with at Long Beach. There's Gordon Johncock in the pits. He does not do too well on the road courses.
No, he doesn't. And besides that, he's just healing up from a broken ankle. So the STP car's a little bit behind right now.
Yeah, you know, we were talking about the Lolas a while ago and their supremacy. They sat in the front row at Portland a couple of weeks ago. So there's a fantastic shot from our blimp straight overhead as Gordon Johncock leaves the pits.
Now, let's see what happens when he hits that wet spot. Let's see if he gets through that thing all right.
Yeah, here he comes around. There it is. That's the culprit. Everybody goes straight
real
through there.
Careful coming through there. I think Gordy views the road courses with the idea just simply to be able to survive. Well, leading drivers in today's race believe performance has been improved with the recent introduction of radial tires on the IndyCar circuit. For a comparison of the radials with the tires used in the past, here's Gary.
From all outward appearances, there would seemingly be very little difference between the bias ply tire that's been used on Indy cars for years and the brand new radial tires that have just been introduced on the IndyCar circuit. But if you're to take a pair of these unmounted tires and actually feel them, you can distinguish a very slight difference. The bias ply has much more give in this part of the tire as opposed to the radial. Very, very stiff, very firm, very hard. But of course, the real measure of the difference between the bias ply and the radial is determined in the area of performance.
Radial tire is a better performing tire all around. It brakes better. We have better side bite, and that's why we're quick.
Well, I think they're better under braking. You can go later until you hit the brakes. Certainly better in the corner itself, better coming out. Plus that the radial tire seems to absorb bumps a little better than the bias tire did.
Let's take a closer look now at the actual construction of one of these new radials. If we were to dissect one of these tires, we'd see that the belts or cords run straight across the tire, side to side, and that an additional layered belt of fabric has been placed between the plies and the outer covering or tread. In the conventional bias ply tire, we can see that the cords cross the tire at an angle, resulting in more tire squirm. The new changes in design account for more stability, better grip, and reduced heat buildup. Goodyear engineers closely monitor tire performance for every team during each practice session, as well as the race itself. Now, since the introduction of the radial, there have been isolated instances of tires blistering, but engineers have blamed subtle differences needed for the race setup as being responsible. They're convinced that in addition to better performance, the new radials will also be safer, since there'll be less danger of punctures. A final note relating now to radial tires. The element of secrecy and the security measures that have been taken to protect this very costly high-tech industry is such that each one of these tires has been individually numbered, and every race team checks them out on an individual basis. And once the race is over, they'll all be checked back in. And every one of these tires is then accounted for, will be shipped to Goodyear headquarters in Akron, Ohio, where they'll all be shredded and burned.
point, too, the tires that they started on, many of the guys on rain tires, those were radios as well. Now Danny Sullivan, second place is in. Let's go to Bruce Jenner.
Tires are so crucial, Paul. Danny Sullivan in the pits. You know, you were mentioning earlier about the Lola and how well it's working, this T800 Lola. Danny Sullivan's beginning of the year was not that competitive on the course, but all of a sudden last race at Portland, he got himself a Lola. He was in the front row. He was leading until he ran into a mechanical problem. But Danny Sullivan in this new car is a force that is going to have to be reckoned with. Paul Page.
Well, Danny Sullivan makes his stop, and Jeff Brabham moves into second place while Sullivan is in the pits. He's already made his stop, but the fact that he's here is truly a miracle, because just a few moments ago, Jeff Brabham was making an approach. Watch carefully, because the report was that he got up and touched tires with Big Al, and look at that as he touches with Big Al.
Boy, that was close. They've had more of that going on today, I think, than you see in an entire year of IndyCar racing, Paul.
Mark of professionalism of both drivers that they were able to keep the cars under control.
Yeah, the guys are really cutting it close because it's exasperating not to be able to pass where you want to, so they're taking a few chances.
Well, now this is a legitimate race. We still have very threatening skies, and should the skies open up completely, despite the fact that you can run on rain tires, if it becomes a heavy downpour, you can't race in it. But they would flag the race. It would be a complete race now. We're over the halfway point. Our leader is Mario Andretti. He's made his stop. Jeff Brabham, second place, has made his stop, and so that should mean a complete race. As far as those guys are concerned, if everything goes right, they don't have to stop again, but it's going to be real close.
Yeah, they shouldn't have to stop again, Paul, but there are still some cars running well that will have to stop again because their first stop came a little bit too early.
In third place is Tom Sneva. Howdy Holmes, car number 41, into the pits. What appeared to be a routine stop by Mayer Motor Racing as Howdy heads back into the action. Just before coming into the pits for his stop, he was in 8th place. There's a good chance that he retained it.
Yes, you know, there's a rash of pit stops now. It's the proper time, and I made a wrong guess a while ago on Ray Hall. I thought sure that it might have been time, but a little bit premature, and he's back in the fray going for it now. And it's Mario Andretti's race to this point. He has really been doing a superb job of playing it right.
A lot of guesswork being done here today, though, Johnny Rutherford. The crews had to figure out what they would run on. We've seen the leader, Mario Andretti. We now look at second place, the number 18 Craco machine. Jeff Brabham is the driver. Andretti, though, still has a substantial lead. We'll try to get a watch on it and let you know. Andretti also should be able to go to the finish, though he stopped on lap 48. Scheduled distance is 100 laps. Maybe he's
yellow,
shy.
He needs a yellow. I don't think he's going to be able to make it to the finish without a yellow. I think that the biggest gamble that we saw today over all of them was when Bobby Rahal and Mario put on their dry tires at the start of the race.
Tom Sneva currently running in 4th place, headed down into the pits, car number 4, one-time Indianapolis champion. He started 19th and moved up to 4th. This fellow that last year couldn't get around a road course now is really doing pretty well.
Well, he's tired too. Look at him, really wants something to drink. Tom's not really known as a road course driver, so he's done a good job today.
Tremendous finish at Long Beach as well. Tom Sneva really has been doing a good job. Tyler Alexander crew chiefing that crew.
Yeah, he has a 3rd place at Long Beach and a 4th place at Portland, so he's looking for a good finish here. Of course, he's leading the points.
We asked him if he did any driving over the winter to teach him how to drive a road course, and he said he just drove a lawnmower around just a bit. So as Tom Sneva comes out of the pits, it's still Mario Andretti that is our leader. We'll be right back. We're back live at the Meadowlands. Mario Andretti has led right from the word go here, continues to lead. We now have 59 laps complete. There's the 4th place car, Jacques Villeneuve. They've had some problems with it. They've had a small fire on it several times and put the extinguishers on it. Now they take the top off, so while he was in 4th place, he will be dropping back rapidly now. Further report, action in the pits. Here's Bruce Jenner.
Villeneuve right behind me right now. There was a fire in the car just a second ago, and Villeneuve, it seems like it got his right shoulder, although he never did get out of the car. He stayed right in there. But quickly a report. Paul, right now as I look around this track, the clouds seem to be getting darker. The rain, it seems like there's a little bit of mist in the air, and this is going to create a completely different race. The biggest problem when it does start raining is visibility. A lot of the drivers will spray a material on their helmets to try to, and right now, to try to keep the condensation down. And also, some of the drivers, like the Penske team, actually have a fan inside their helmet, and they continually blow air so they won't fog up on them. Right now, Villeneuve, they are trying to keep him. He is staying in the car, although they have taken the top off, and they're looking at the side. But right now, it looks like Villeneuve is out of the race, Paul Page.
Bruce, Mario Andretti is still proving that he is the king of the road course, certainly here at the Meadowlands. Out in front by almost 50 seconds. In fact, on some of the longer stretches, he should be able to see the second-place car of Jeff Brabham right in front of him. In third place right now is Danny Sullivan. Fourth place, Al Holbert, but Holbert is one lap down.
Al's been running a good race today, Paul. He got down a lap. I think that was through some of those early tire changes between the wet and the dry tires, but he's really done quite a good job today. Been very consistent and fast. Look at he and Bobby Rahal are together right now, and we know that Bobby Rahal was very fast early on.
Or something that could make a key difference, Johnny Rutherford, is if these clouds start to let go, as Bruce already pointed out, the clouds are closing in a bit. They're now running on dry tires, and that could change the complexion of everything, especially the body work on some of the cars.
Oh, definitely, Paul. You know, we've seen them pulling tape off of the rear brake scoops, as Bobby pointed out a while ago, and getting that rearranged. We've seen wing changes. We've seen these guys doing a lot of things to the cars that they have to do for the dry. If it starts to drizzle, which means they won't stop the race, but they'll have to come in for wet tires, they'll have to reverse that. They'll have to start taping up ducts. They'll have to start changing wing settings. It's going to be really something if it starts to rain here again.
Mario Andretti comes down behind the 8th place car of Al Unser Sr., running one lap down. As Andretti continues to dominate, Al reaches out, says, "Pass me on the left side." Andretti does just that. 12 of Mario's wins, as we saw his story just a moment ago, 12 of his wins have come on road courses. So Andretti knows what he's doing. And a quick spin by Howdy Holmes. That's his third by our count.
That Howdy's touring all of these turns, isn't he?
But he
I don't think he's hit anything.
No, and he's got it saved. I think he got a little wing damage in the front from an earlier spin, but there he sits.
Looks like the engine might be shut off now, so if that's true, he won't get going again.
No, it's still running. He just wants somebody to back him away. There they go. They'll back him away from that wall now, and he'll probably pop the clutch, do a 360, and get out. There he goes. Uh-oh, now he's got to be moved again.
Howdy Holmes, they got him around. Now he says no. His gloves are coming off. I think he's had just about enough.
Well, his wings are kind of crooked. That's the third spin out, and he might think that maybe that's just enough of spinning for today.
Maybe he's finally got the message. Howdy Holmes, the Jiffy Mixers car, off the course as the leader. Mario Andretti, car number 3, comes by. Still a commanding and dominant lead in this race.
You know, Paul, this really has been a difficult track so far today. It's really bad when you're completely wet and then go to a wet and dry. And of course, if you stay in the groove, it's dry right now. It's a difficult thing to do.
Look at Howdy.
He's tired. I promise you. That's part of the reason he quit right there.
That tells the story right there. Something might have broken. You know, when he popped that clutch, turned the car around, something might have let go in the gearbox. So it's hard to say.
You can see the fatigue
reflected
on his face. And most of the guys said that you really had to have a physical condition going to get into this race and win it. Mario Andretti. Now, there's been a big marketing program around this event. Take a look at this. There's Mario just the other day with a Tiger that Steve McMillan brought in, helped promote the race. Mario pets Bombay, the name of a 525-pound Tiger.
See, nice kitty.
Yeah, Mario was real careful, too. Mario recognized that his hands and arms were how he made a living. He didn't want Bombay to walk away with any of them.
You know where you let a cat like that go, Paul?
No, John.
Anywhere he wants to.
Thank you, John. Mario Andretti out in front. Car number 3, a commanding lead, but how far can he go on the tank of fuel he has now? Let's get an update report from Gary Gerald.
Well, Paul, the man right over here in the glass is Tony Sakali, who's been working with this crew, has had the computer out. He says that they figure that they're going to have to make a stop to touch off for fuel at about the 98th lap, or we should say they have enough fuel to get to the 98th lap. They'll undoubtedly stop before that. It'll be a quick stop, fuel only, unless, of course, they have to go to the full yellow. To get a flurry of yellows, he could be in, of course, at that side. But there was not enough fuel on that last stop to go the rest of the way. So we'll be watching that closely, of course, from Andretti's pit.
So the calculations have been done in the Andretti pits. There is Mario out in front. Back in second place, Jeff Brabham and Danny Sullivan. Sullivan gets around Brabham and picks up second.
Well, you know what's going to happen on Mario's last stop? It really isn't as serious as it might sound because he's going to do a time stop. He's only going to take on maybe 5 gallons, be right back out, take maybe 5 seconds, 6 seconds, and that's all, Paul.
To expand on that, Bobby Unser, they just figure out exactly how much they need. They know the flow that'll come through the hoses. They need 4 gallons and it takes 4 seconds. They hook up for 4.
4 seconds. They come in and they'll have it all figured out. Right now they've got it figured out, and they'll say with a stopwatch, and as soon as somebody hollers to Mario on the radio, he's gone. And I'll bet you he doesn't stay there over 4 seconds.
So Mario Andretti's job is simply to get the car there safely. He's been doing a marvelous job so far. He's a master here at the Meadowlands. Now let's go back to the pits and Gary.
Well, Paul, we're standing alongside John Frasco, the chairman of the board of directors for Championship Auto Racing Team. John, this has to be extremely exciting from 2 counts. First, the growth of CART, then the opportunity to come back into the New Jersey, New York metropolitan area and get off a race under really tough conditions.
Yeah, well, it's been a tough 2 or 3 days, but I think the crowd is fantastic. They're enthusiastic. I think if we had any sun at all, it would have been a real barn burner, and we're looking forward to coming back for the next 4 years.
Do you have a commitment that there will be racing in this area at this facility for the next few years?
No question about it. And from the size of this crowd today, under the most worst conditions you can imagine, the fact that we couldn't come back would be almost unspeakable. So we're going to be here.
Well, not only John Frasco is happy, all other officials are happy as we await the outcome here at the Meadowlands, Paul.
Well, there's some great race fans in New Jersey. They really stayed with it here. Of course, a lot of them remember the racing down at Trenton and missed the loss of their circuit, and so they just come up about 80 miles north and check this race out, and hopefully CART is making some friends too in the New York area now. New York just a few miles over the Hackensack River and then the Hudson.
We had some good racing at Trenton, but this is a good, it's a brand new course. It's nice, and we're closer to New York City, and new customers, new race fans. I think it's really invigorating to see anything like this.
Second place car is Danny Sullivan. In first position is Mario Andretti. As the third place machine, Jeff Brabham now heads into the pits, picking up a load of fuel and a left front and rear tire. Those are the tires that are getting the burn here today. They're changing them, but this is an unusual time for a stop.
Well, he'll make it with only one more stop. You remember, Paul, a lot of those cars early on got messed up when we went from wet to dry, and that's where it got us all messed up, when the cars all pitting together as they normally would.
Danny Sullivan, number 30, second place. The leader is Mario Andretti, and we'll continue with more from the Meadowlands at the United States Grand Prix right after this. The Goodyear Blimp Enterprise noses its way down between Giant Stadium, Brendan Byrne Arena, over the circuit that is the circuit for the United States Grand Prix at the Meadowlands. Enterprise based out of Pompano Beach, Florida. Jim Maloney is the captain from Vienna, Virginia. Second place, car number 30, Danny Sullivan, a Lola. He is 55 seconds behind another Lola, that belonging to the leader, Mario Andretti.
Well, that's 2 Lolas out in front right now, and I think they're going to be selling some Lola
back
cars.
To Ray Hall. Ray Hall's back running on the course. We take a look, and that lens has cleared up a little bit.
I wonder
you get
why.
a better idea.
The rain quits, the wind gets better.
It dried out quite a bit. The picture, it's really too bad you can't see it fully because the picture is much sharper than that. Mostly what's bothering it is the moisture in the air. There's a lot of mist and some moisture got in, but you can see Bobby Rahal really fighting at that wheel.
Look at his hand. That shows you how hard a guy has to work here. This is a very busy racetrack.
Everybody all week has said this thing is very physical, and they thought they'd be really tired when it was over.
Rahal flashes over the start-finish line on the pit straight, closing down. You can see his turbo pressure coming up and down as he comes up behind Al Holbert and begins to charge.
That gauge they're looking at right there on the screen is the turbo pressure gauge, and that shows in between shifts how the pressure goes up to 48 inches, and he's shifting and backing off. And goes
Here's
back
that key turn. There's number 4 as he comes up behind Holbert.
Oh, that's a tremendous shot. Look at that. Very close. Right up there close. Look at him leap away.
Now Holbert has to brake as they come into 5. Rahal closes right in behind him. Wow, isn't that
wonderful?
Oh, you can see Ray Hall's hands go over and grab the gear shift. That's a good shot. That's one of the nicest camera shots I've seen.
And again, this is still not as good as it can be because we've got a lot of moisture sitting on the front of that lens. Now, this late in the race, a lot of oil up there, so it can be even a lot prettier. The NBC engineers have done a tremendous job getting this going. Now look, how little visibility you have ahead as they come through the sweeper that is turn 11.
Now, that's third gear, so you're running pretty quick through there.
Now they touch the top speed in the course, about 165 miles an hour. The report is that Michael Andretti is due for a pit stop once again. They have called him in. Now we see if he actually comes in. Battle for fourth place now. Al Unser Jr., Jeff Brabham. They are off the leader lap, but they are battling for fourth position as they come past Gordon Johncock. Let's go down to the pits. Gary Gerald. Gary?
Well, Paul, Michael Andretti in up on the jacks in the Craco Special number 99. He had a disastrous series of stops earlier. We told you how frustrated he was. He experienced a handling problem. They couldn't pinpoint it. The crew tells us now that that problem has taken care of itself. The car's been working all right. He's trying to protect the top 10 position now as he streams back into action.
Michael really wants to get back into the fight as he roars out of the pits. Mario Andretti still leads, still second. Danny Sullivan, car number 30. And Al Holbert in number 21 has made it all the way up to third place. Rick Mears lost it coming off of 3 just a second ago. Let's see if we can't look at it again. Rick Mears hasn't had his best day. Has not been able to get around this circuit quite as good as he has hoped. Right now, here it is. Rick Mears coming off of 3, loses the back end.
Yeah, see, just got a little wide there, and it's still a little wet. You can see the moisture on the outside. Evidently, he got into that, and away she went, and it's very exasperating because you're busy concentrating on things. Something like that happens, bang, breaks your concentration, and you've got to really get with it again.
You know, Johnny, there's only about 2 feet between the dry and the wet on these turns. I think people should understand that, and Rick probably missed it just by a tick.
Yeah, just a very little bit, you know.
You can look at the track right there.
Right, doesn't take much.
You saw fourth place. Here comes fifth place, Little Al, as he chases that blue and yellow number 18 of Jeff Brabham.
He'll be due for a pit stop pretty soon. Little Al's due in, and this is going to probably change things just a little bit.
Well, I think the indications are that everyone is going to have to make a second stop. Little Al stopped on lap number 47. We're now on lap 73.
You know, I wonder if Brabham's stop a while ago is going to put him in good standing when everybody has to make stops.
Brabham is finished, I think, Johnny. I think he's made his last stop.
Yeah. All right, let's go down to Chip Ganassi's pit. Here's Bruce Jenner.
Chip Ganassi in the pits right now. A little bit frantic. They took the car down off the jacks a little bit premature. And they got all the tires on. They got the car back up and down, and Chip Ganassi is back out in the race.
Gary Robazzini and his crew working on Ganassi's car. There's the fifth place machine, Little Al, still in pursuit of the fourth place car.
Chip is up to 10th in the old Milwaukee car, Paul, and he's done a pretty good job today. It's that old wet and dry tire thing in the beginning that kind of got him behind, I think.
Here's Brabham. Now this will give you an idea of how far behind Little Al is. There's Little Al. Still some distance to make up, but he appears to be closing. This has been a race of a great deal of attrition. Dale Fabi out with that early accident, as was Ken Atchison. Roberto Guerrero bent a wing, left front wheel. Peter Halsmer had an onboard fire. You saw it in the pits. Ed Pym got up against the wall on the outside of 4. Didn't damage the car badly, but couldn't continue. Jose Garza got involved with Dick Simon on the approach to 4. Neither one injured, no problems, but the cars can't continue. Jim Crawford, an engine let go. Kevin Cogan got a little piece of the wall. Derek Daly with an engine out. Danny Angayas was overheating, and Howdy Holmes, not just one spin out. We saw 3 different spin outs, and I think Howdy said, okay, that's it.
I think we saw a very tired race driver, too. I don't think people on television ever see a race driver any more tired than Howdy was.
Here's the fight on the circuit. The fourth place car. Jeff Brabham being chased by Al Unser Jr.
Tell you what, that is really something to watch those guys. You know, it's so close, so narrow. It's wet, and it's starting to get a little grayer here, so it's going to be something to watch and see if it starts to drizzle any harder. They're going to have to change all everything on their cars, come back in, and it'll be a new race all over again.
Mario Andretti working on lap number 76, 100 laps the scheduled distance. The skies beginning to close in just a little bit more. There is still a chance that this race might not go all the way. The fourth place car, Jeff Brabham, being chased by Little Al. In second place, Danny Sullivan in car number 30, and in third place, car number 21, Al Holbert. The fight on the course is Little Al closing up behind Jeff Brabham.
You know, right now, Paul, these clouds look very thin. I think it's clouds moving in more than it is rain, because as you look out there, you don't see the heavy, heavy black ones that hold the rain. I think this is just clouds moving in, and I hope it doesn't bother anything. We're having too many good races today to have it rain on us anyway.
The circuit has remained remarkably dry, especially if you consider how wet it was earlier. 74 laps complete. Mario Andretti is the leader. We're back live at the Meadowlands. Mario Andretti leads. Danny Sullivan is second. You're watching Jeff Brabham currently running in fourth. Al Unser Jr. was closing down behind him. Now, the real question is who has to stop and who doesn't. Let's get an update. Here's Gary Gerald.
Well, Paul, we've come to that time of the race where very much that becomes a factor. We already reported that Mario Andretti's crew says that he will have to make a short stop for a burst of fuel before the 98th lap, unless they get a lot of yellows, at which time he would take it then. Ian Reed here in Danny Sullivan's pit says that they are good the rest of the way. So they're hoping that they can close up. If Andretti indeed has to make the stop, Sullivan will take advantage of that slow down, speed up time for Mario. We could still have ourselves a very interesting finish here at the Meadowlands.
Every driver will tell you it's not over till it's over. Let's look at this just a second ago. That's Gordon Johncock on the lead, and it's Emerson Fittipaldi behind. Gordy chops him right to the wall, and that universal gesture of frustration from Emerson.
He was talking to Gordy in some sort of sign language, I think.
Yeah, there was a little Brazilian mixed in there, too, I'm sure.
I suspect that Gordy understood exactly what he was saying, too. Back to the action now. The battle for fourth place. There is Jeff Brabham, car number 18. And back just out of the picture to the left is Little Al Unser, the winner 2 weeks ago at Portland. Jeff Brabham, 4 years in kart, still looking for his first win in kart as he comes past the number 21 machine of Al Holbert. Now that may put him up into third place. I say may because there's some question if it brings him on the lap, but that should be a third place now for Jeff Brabham as he moves up through the field coming around Al Holbert.
Well, I think that's going to be largely due to the fact that he's running good, Paul, for one thing, but he isn't going to have to stop again unless he has a problem. And also, you're going to see the close thing is going to be between Mario and Sullivan. Mario's going to have to stop, I'm sure. Sullivan won't have to stop, but I don't think that Sullivan's close enough to take a swing at Mario for the finish.
A nice piece of work by Jeff Brabham, though, as he closed up very quickly on Holbert and got past Bobby Rahal back to the pits.
Yes, Bobby's in for a stop. Bobby lost it whenever he spun early in the race, and that put him out of contention. And it's really a shame because he could have put a lot of pressure on.
Bobby Rahal, the car now down off the jacks. You see the suspension flex. He wiggles the gear selector down into the number 1 position, flips the throttle, jumps the clutch, and Bobby Rahal back into the fight.
Well, he's had a few problems today, but boy, they can't say he wasn't fast early on, can they?
Bobby Rahal back up to speed, though well down out of the top 10 of the race. The leader still Mario Andretti, well out in front. He currently enjoys a lead just over 1 minute. Second place, Danny Sullivan. Jeff Brabham third. Al Holbert now has been passed by Al Unser Jr., so Holbert beginning to slide backwards through the field.
Well, he is going backwards, Paul, but I'm trying to figure out when Holbert stopped the last time. I think Holbert is he's down a lap from Little Al right now, I believe. So I don't believe he's really going to be a factor, to be honest with you.
Through the mist, there is Jeff Brabham. Still no reports of any moisture on the circuit, though it's hard to believe. Very heavy cloud layer closing in now down on the facility that is the Meadowlands Sports Complex. Giant Stadium, the Meadowlands horse racing facility for the trotters and the thoroughbreds. Of course, the Brendan Byrne Arena, the NBA, and the hockey teams. And this is a tremendous sports facility. Now they're enjoying auto racing. Major League Auto Racing, first time nearly 50 years here in the New York area.
You know, we have a surprisingly good crowd for such a nasty day. I think it's pretty good. A lot of people here. People are not leaving, too. Have you noticed that?
Mario Andretti, Gordon Johncock in front. We've already seen Gordy style on the road course, and Mario has seen it as well and is going to tiptoe past there. He finds a piece of open straight and gets past Gordy.
Mario's got a race in his hand. He doesn't want to lose it right now, so he's not going to take a chance with anybody, I don't think.
History being made. Mario Andretti has led from the green flag. He did exactly the same thing. First race of the season at Long Beach. This is the first race at the Meadowlands.
That was a new track at Long Beach, too, Paul. In other words, even though it was Long Beach, it was a different laid-out track.
This is also the first time the kart has run in the rain, so if you want to make a comparison, the Indy cars, known so much in the past for the ovals, now, just like Grand Prix racing the Formula One, they're right up there.
I'll tell you, they did the same things, and I think the guys really reacted to it like good businessmen. I think the judgments that they did, some of them were gambled, but I think they were all done very seriously and very good.
The comparison, too, Indianapolis car Formula One, a test done about a year and a half ago, showed the Indianapolis car much faster, really the superior car of the two, though I'm sure Bernie Ecclestone and the Formula One guys will jump up the minute you say something like that.
Well, they're going to scream at us all the time anyway. This is the United States, and this is where we have our racing. It's not too bad.
It'd be great someday to see Formula One and the Indy cars go head-to-head, then we'll prove it.
It would be good. Let's do it.
Dan Gurney at one time had a pretty good chunk of money up for the
$100,000 had a bet.
Formula One car that could beat an Indy car.
Yes, and they didn't take the bet, though. They knew better.
Here we're seeing Jeff Brabham, third-place car, as he circles this 11-turn course, 1.682 miles around.
You know, we see a picture of Danny Sullivan here in the Domino Pizza Hot one. Mario is not that far behind him, so he has nearly a one-lap cushion when he makes his stop. So it would take a miracle for Danny to be able to close that much distance and give Mario any kind of a run at the finish.
But remember, Johnny, if he kills the engine, he's in trouble.
Oh, yes. If Sullivan would be on him like a June bug in just an instant.
Both these cars are very fast, too. They're virtually identical cars. I don't, he bought this from Mario's team, so I think they're the same cars, and it was obvious at Portland that Danny was every bit as fast as Mario was.
Second-place car of Danny Sullivan should not have to make a stop. He stopped with 54 laps, just over halfway, as we look over Ray Hall's shoulder. Mario Andretti should have to, because the weather is running a little long here on the race. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back after these messages from your local station.
I'm Andrew.
This is Paul Page. We're back live at the Meadowlands. Tom Gloy just got into the wall at turn 5. Got the nose in there. He climbed out of the car. He is unhurt. We have not, fortunately, had anyone hurt today. But quick little spin. Looked like he got up behind somebody else.
Yeah, he touched wheels over there. I was watching in that particular area because I saw the cars very close together. I thought that could be one, and sure enough, Gloy touched, and around he went.
Turns out that turn 5 was one of the better passing places all day, and I think Tom was probably doing a pass over there.
All right, let's go down to the pits once again. In Andretti's pit, Mario's pits. Here's Gary Gerald.
Well, here's the man that makes critical decisions for Mario Andretti. Tony Cicali has got this chart on this yellow pad, and I understand there's been a little push and pull going on here, trying to make a decision as to whether or not Mario will come in. What's the word now?
Well, the word is we're going to try to stay out and do the complete race without stopping.
Now, is that what you want, or is that what Mario wants, Tony?
Well, Mario's in a position to judge it as well, too. From his standpoint, he feels it would be a safer bet to stay out. We have a supplementary system on the car, so we should be able to determine whether we're low on fuel. We shouldn't run into a situation where we will run out.
Is this not a gamble? You have a one-lap lead. Don't you have the safety to come in and do it?
It is a bit of a gamble, and if it was strictly my decision, I think I probably would. But Mario's the man in charge. Mario's going to do what he wants to do, and probably rightfully so. He makes some very good decisions, and I think this will be one of them as well.
We'd like to be a party to the conversation if Mario happens to run out of fuel when you get a chance to talk to him. We'll have to wait and see about that.
Yeah, I think you would.
All right, Tony Cicali, the tug of war is underway down here in the Andretti pit, Paul.
Well, the question is who's running the race, and as he said, Mario Andretti is the man in charge. I would think he has almost a 60-second pad that I'd go ahead and stop for safety.
You know, it's so easy to stop and really stand a probably 98% chance of winning the race, and yet such a sad thing if he were to run out the last lap. That would definitely be a loss.
Looking down again from the sky at turn number 5. There's Tom Gloy's car sitting against the wall. The flag's out indicating that they need to slow through that particular position. As we go back to the race surface itself, a battle now developing for 5th place between Tom Sneva and Al Holbert. Holbert, one of the great IMSA champions. Mario Andretti well out in front. There you get an idea of how it is beginning to mist in here. As we look down, Al Holbert in the midst of all of this.
Look at Tom Sneva's wing is cocked off to one side. He's evidently been touched by somebody, and the thing is a little bit out of shape.
Tom Sneva running just a little bit askew there. Al Holbert right behind. That's a battle for 5th. Sneva currently occupies 5th. You can see there's a good shot. Show you how the wing is just trailing off to the right as Holbert sees that and is in pursuit.
Well, that's not helping Tom right now, I promise you, so it's going to make it a lot easier for Holbert. That's really killing his wing, honestly.
What kind of effect is that going to have on the handling?
That's just really bad because he won't have as much rear wheel bite as he needs.
Yeah, he doesn't get the downforce exerted from that wing in the back because it's down, getting some dirty air off of the tire, and it's really not doing the job it's supposed to.
You wonder if it doesn't break off. That's his biggest worry right now.
Well, the officials certainly taking a look at it as well. Tremendous battle for 5th place. Tom Gloy's car now on the hook in turn 5. They'll get that section of the circuit clear, drop the yellow flags there so they can continue to race. Al Holbert takes a run on Tom, but seems hesitant at putting his nose up alongside.
Well, you can understand that. He probably doesn't think Tom has full control of a car with a wing bent like that.
Yeah, but there he goes. He finally got by.
Most of the guys said if you were going to do it, you'd do it under braking. Al Holbert got it done. Now Tom Sneva comes over to the left as Michael Andretti comes by as well. That's not a pass for position, though. Michael is well down off the lead. You saw those lengthy stops that Michael had to make. But Al Holbert is now in 5th place, but he's 2 laps behind the leader. Yellow flags being waved for the turn 5 situation. Al Holbert's car picked up. That was the situation happened just a few laps ago.
Well, there's Tom Gloy's car, the Simonized car. Sad that he went this far in the race and had to have such a little spin or a little bump and go on and knock him out of the race.
Al Holbert, a rookie in kart, 4th place finisher at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway this year with a tremendous run. Now he has a good run going here, occupying the 5th place. Once again, the lead serial. Mario Andretti leads. Danny Sullivan is 2nd. Jeff Brabham is 3rd, 1 lap down. Al Unser Jr. is 4th, 1 lap behind the leader. And Al Holbert is now running that number 21 car in 5th place. 6th is Tom Sneva. 7th, Emerson Fittipaldi. 8th, Al Unser Sr. Chip Ganassi is 9th, and Rick Mears is 10th. We'll be back with more of the United States Grand Prix from the Meadowlands after this. Horse past rifle, John Paul Jr.
Yeah.
We're back live at the United States Grand Prix at the Meadowlands, looking over Bobby Rahall's right shoulder with our kart cam live on a very dark and dismal day. Rain threatening once again as we are in the closing laps. Mario Andretti just 8 laps from victory. And if you have any idea how dark it is right now, that little camera and how much water it's had on it gives you an idea of how spectacular the view will be on a bright day, which is exactly what we hope for on the 22nd of July when we do the Michigan 500. That camera will be in the same place. Mario Andretti, the leader, out in front by 59.5 seconds.
Difference is
Mario Andretti being told by his crew now on the board, come on in. They're apparently also talking to him by radio. Last time they called him in, he didn't necessarily listen to what they had to say. We'll watch. This should be a very quick stop when it comes.
Paul,
the crew's standing by.
He's cut his boost way back because Bobby Rahal just did a pass on him, and not for position, but just did a pass, so that means that Mario is slowing down trying to save fuel. So let's see if they're going to argue with each other or whether Mario's going to stay out by probably his choice or come in by the team's choice.
Well, you have to assume, Bobby and Johnny, that they're talking to him on the radio as well.
Well, the radio could possibly be out of order, but for sure they got it on the signboard. That doesn't get out of order.
I don't imagine on a circuit like this, Mario has a lot of time really to talk. It's so busy.
And I would have think that. The guys say that you're constantly busy. You only have one little short straightaway that you can kind of relax on. So I'm sure that there's not much time to be talking on a radio.
Tony Sacali indicated it earlier in his talk with Gary Gerald. That man, the man in the cockpit at the moment, is the man in charge. He does have some equipment on board to tell him how much fuel he has left.
Well, they indicated that he had some sort of a device other than the warning light, Paul, and they really should have that in these cars. They should have done it many years ago, but we need a gallon counter like the airplanes have. Some cars have them. The Formula One cars have them, and I've never understood. Dan Gurney and I started to have them back in 1972, but it just didn't seem important in those days, I guess.
Now, we have to remember, they just gave him a sign asking about light. There's a light to tell him when it's finally low. At Phoenix this year, he was leading the race. He was waiting for the light. The light was faulty. It never came on. He ran out of fuel on the course, lost the lead, lost the race because of it.
Don't you know that's what they're worried about right now, that the crew is just not buying this program, and I'm sure I wouldn't buy it either. I'd stop and go ahead and win the race.
Yes, Mario Andretti, there's Alonso Jr. as he rolls into the pits, rolled in real slow. Looked like he might have been totally off the power in 4th place when he rolled in.
He's got his engine running. You can see the fire coming out. But the only thing you got to remember now, he's up on the far end, Paul. He's on the first pitch coming in practically.
He takes a change there at the left rear, putting a lot of fuel in it. They have to change the tires. They might as well stay hooked up. This shouldn't be a time stop.
I don't really think that was the time to change the tires unless they just drastically needed them. Shouldn't be over 6 or 7 laps till that fight.
Mario Andretti out in front with 5 laps to go. He has led right from the green flag. We'll be back for the conclusion of the United States Grand Prix at the Meadowlands after this. Goodyear Blimp Enterprise out of Pompano Beach. Jim Maloney, the captain, over the circuit here, though ducking the clouds. Mario Andretti now with just over 3 laps to go, and he will win his second road race of the season, his second race of the season, and he will do it just like he did at Long Beach, flag to flag. But it's not that simple. There is a question how much fuel is in that car. The crew really wants him in. Mario is not coming in. He is continuing to run. Look at that crew. They're not at all happy about this. Tony Sacali back there, the glasses on, doing the computations again and again and again. And they're hoping that Mario doesn't do what he did at Phoenix, which is run out of fuel. If he does, the second place car, a Lola, just like Mario's, belongs to Danny Sullivan. He made his stop on lap number 54 and does not need to stop again given those numbers. There's that car, the number 30 machine, Danny Sullivan at the wheel. He is in second place, and he has about 52 seconds to catch up. Now, pointing out that time, in the past 3 laps, Mario has let Danny catch up by 8 seconds. I say let because I assume Mario is beginning to tiptoe a little bit.
Well, most definitely, Mario has, as Bobby pointed out a while ago, probably turned the boost down a little bit so he's not using as much fuel. He's got the thing tuned in to where he's just out there cruising, and that's all he's got to do right now. He has nearly a lap lead. It's time when he can sit back and not make any mistakes.
But you know, John, it doesn't hardly seem worthwhile to gamble on losing a race that's so easy to win, and he's really had lady luck plus a fast car on his side today.
Oh, that's for sure, and you're right. There's no point staying out there taking a chance with 58-second cushion. He might as well make the stop.
Remember, if he makes it without a stop, he'll be the hero. If he runs out of gas or fuel, do you know how many rounds there's going to be in that pit?
Were we seeing the light on his dashboard? Look up in the upper right-hand corner. When you get behind him a little bit, is that not maybe the fuel light that we just saw come on?
Well, could be. It's they make it very prominent because on a bright day, they're very hard to see.
There's definitely a light there.
Well, it could be.
So that car may be running out of fuel. Now, he should have time for the stop, but will he try and stretch it? The crew's out and ready. Andretti on the pit road. Andretti is coming in. Andretti in for a stop.
Good sin. Good judgment.
Yeah, very good judgment.
Should be a quick hookup. There's the hookup. 1, 2. Just counting the seconds off. He keeps the engine revs high.
5 seconds.
Andretti pulls away a 5-second stop. The clutch hooks up. That's the other big worry. Don't break any CV joints. Come out smooth. Watch out for the puddle at the end. He comes away nice and clean. And we've got a car against the wall in the first turn. Michael Andretti, Mario's son, a fire at the back. Michael starts to climb out. The fire appears to extinguish itself. This is just past the pit straight.
He's having trouble getting out, so that means the car's bent bad. He's all right, though.
Yeah, I think probably he just forgot to take the steering wheel off, and the cars are very close with the wheel, and he was trying to get away from it. Sullivan's in the pits.
The second place car, Danny Sullivan, now rolls into the pits, comes in for a stop. We didn't think that he would make it. There's Danny Sullivan.
But there's no penalty, Paul, because he's a full lap ahead of the position behind third place, so there's no problem there.
Insurance
that was a good, smart move.
Insurance stop for Danny Sullivan. So Mario Andretti Andretti makes his stop, continues on at the same time that his son, Michael, slaps the wall in the main stretch.
You know that Mario's going to be coming around asking how his kid is. I bet he's really worried right now.
He'll come around and see that. The white flag out for Mario Andretti, just 1 lap to go. There he gets his first glimpse of his son Michael's car against the wall. He looks over there. I'm sure that Michael made every effort to be visible as he came by.
Sure he did. He probably was out of our shot and he was waving, because that would be excruciating.
Mario Andretti, certainly a lot of worry, closes up behind Al Holbert. Less than a lap to go now. A race that we thought would see rain the entire way. The course dry just before the start. Mario Andretti started on the pole. It was his 11th road course pole.
This has been one of the most interesting races I've seen in a long time, Paul, because of the type of track, the rain, the racing that we've seen. It's really been good today.
There's the crew, Maggie Smith and everyone. They're not going to celebrate yet. There's still quite a few turns to go. Mario has the command, though. He's in charge. Car number 3, that Budweiser Lola. Turn number 11, a sweeper back to the left. Now he can see the checkered flag ahead of him. Nick Finoro has it. Mario Andretti flashes past, and Mario Andretti wins the first race at the Meadowlands. And look at the crew now. They've got it. No more worry. Daryl Soppy takes off his headphones. He doesn't have to worry about it. And the pit board out to Mario Andretti states it all. We win. We are the winners here today.
Well, that is incredible. He did it just like he did at Long Beach. It was a fantastic job of going all day, all the way.
Mario Andretti, the margin of victory will be right at 48 seconds ahead of the second-place car, Danny Sullivan. Lola, 1 and 2 here in the first race at the Meadowlands. And Mario Andretti proves he is the king, the lord and master of the road circuits here. He has 2 road circuit victories this season. As now he rolls on his victory lap. There's the checkered flag for second place. Danny Sullivan, 51.6 seconds behind. And for Mario Andretti, it's a $68,000 day. Danny Sullivan now rolls slowly on the course as Mario heads for winner's circle. We'll be back to meet the winner right after this. Well, they're celebrating down in winner's circle. Mario Andretti, the winner of the first race here at the Meadowlands. Let's go to Gary Gerald. Gary?
Well, Paul, it's a madhouse down here. There's a lot of bedlam. The coolest guy around, I think, outwardly, is Mario Andretti. I know you're thinking about Michael. We understand he's okay. He was able to walk away from the car, Mario. That had to be an awful jolt when you come down to that last lap and you see your son up against the wall.
Yeah, it's naturally, I was really concerned, and I didn't see anyone in the cockpit, so I figured at least he was not pinned or something. And again, when I come in, Don Henderson told me that everything was all right, so that's a big relief. I didn't need to have the day spoiled.
Let's talk a little bit about the fuel business. The crew wanted you in. We understand you wanted to stay out and try to gamble. How tough a decision was it to come in for that last stop?
Well, it was tough because I was working on the light, and all of a sudden the light just started blinking less and less, and the last 3/4 of a lap, it wasn't blinking at all, so I figured I'm going in, and they were ready for me, so it was just a little safety. But I was running with a boost way down, and still, I guess I was still sucking quite a bit of fuel.
Mario, it seems like it was still a huge gamble. Why did you want to stay out?
Well, because that's why we have the system that we have. You know, we have to trust it, and so I don't think I was taking any chances as long as the light was blinking.
We got another one. Well, Mario, congratulations from all the Sports World team. This is becoming a habit in these road racing events. Congratulations to all of you.
Thank you very much, guys.
All right, let's go down to Bruce Jenner with Danny Sullivan, our second-place finisher.
Well, I'm with a very happy Danny Sullivan. And, Danny, you had your work cut out for I saw your hand just as you took it out of the glove, and look at that. Wore the skin right off it.
Yeah, we had a little trouble with the gearbox, but never missed a gear, and it all held up for the whole race. So
you have to be pleased because at Portland, the car ran so well. You were out in the lead. Unfortunately, had some mechanical, but now you're back in the hunt. This Lola seems to be working for you.
Yeah, we're real pleased, and it ran without a fault, and this was really tough on the gearbox and the crown wheel, so we were just glad to get through it all.
Last year, you ran Formula One. This year, you're running here with Indy cars. How's your the first half of the season? How's it going?
Well, it's been kind of up and down, but the last 2 weeks or last 2 races have made it really good, and this
of course, adds to it. So we'll be looking for a win at Cleveland.
All right, well, congratulations, and good luck with the rest of the season. Congratulations on that new car and a second-place finish.
Thanks a lot, Rick.
All right, Paul Page.
Danny Sullivan, his best finish of his kart career, second place. He started in 7th place. Michael Andretti had a real problem at the end of the race on the main stretch. There you see what's left of the race car. That's the after picture. He was coming down over the start-finish line when he got into trouble. Fortunately, we can report Michael Andretti does not appear to be seriously injured. You saw him hop out of the car and walk away as they load that car up. So now it's Mario Andretti that wins. Danny Sullivan is second. Jeff Brabham third. Al Unser Jr. fourth. Hal Holbert fifth. This is Paul Page saying so long from the first race at the Meadowlands.
BC by United Airlines.